Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 28 of our 100 Day Challenge. I know I teased the sex tourism episode last time. However, let's make room first for a prenup conversation, as many of you feel that the Honest We series is not really complete without it. So we are having this conversation now instead of much later. And ladies, this one is specifically for you. So if your man sends you this video, watch till the end because you'll never look at a prenup agreement the same way again. So let's say the two of you are getting married. You talked about having kids someday, two, maybe three, a house, and maybe a little business down the line. You want a good full life together. Of course, that's the goal of everybody. So let me ask you this. Have the two of you actually sat down and planned how you build all of this? And no, I am not talking about the wedding, the marriage itself, because this is what I notice many couples do. They plan the prenuptial photo shoot and the wedding for an entire year, but the marriage itself, 0 days, nada. I know. This whole prenup conversation is like an allergy that itches badly when triggered. But guess what? You already have a prenup enforced by the government. You're like, huh, what the heck is she talking about? Yes, ladies, the government decides what happens the moment the marriage ends in an untimely manner. So for the West, it's whatever default the local government mandates. Here, same thing, but with a darker twist. We have no divorce here. However, he can go back to his own country and divorce you. He packs up and leaves and moves his bank accounts out of PH, and our courts have limited reach to freeze his account or enforce property division. And that's just the tip of a long and tedious physical and emotional process for you. So here, when a Filipina marries with no agreement, the law hands you a default set of rules automatically. It's called absolute community of property. Everything becomes 50-50, and yes, that includes the things you owned beforehand. So planning well for your marriage where the both of you can dictate the terms and not the government should be part of the important conversations early on. That's what the prenup is exactly all about. So the real question then is not really should we have a prenup, but the real question is did the two of you actually sit down and write your own rules? So let me tell you why a prenup is actually good for your relationship. There is this famous divorce attorney, James Sexton, who wrote over 1,000 prenups over 25 years of his career. And guess what? Only five ended up getting divorced. How awesome is that? So, in essence, people who get a prenup tend not to break up. When probed further as to why that is the case, he said, it's a self selecting process. The kind of people who can have conversations about prenups are the kinds who become successful in marriage. Now, that makes so much sense. The people who can have difficult conversations tend to be the ones who can work through difficult times together without falling apart. A prenup also gives the couple peace of mind during the good and bad times. So if a fight happens, you take out the worrisome question, what will happen to my money if we break up? Because it's already decided fairly and nobody is secretly keeping score. Think of it like going to couples counseling before the wedding. It doesn't mean you plan for it to fail, right? It just makes your relationship stronger. A prenup is simply the money version of that. Ladies, you might think a prenup is just to protect his money from you, but a good prenup actually protects you. Let me say that in Tagalog. Ang prenup ay hindi lang para protektahan ang pera niya laban sa iyo, pero ang totoo, ang magandang prenup ay pinoprotektahan ka din. Now, many assume that prenups are for two rich people protecting their money from each other, but such is not the case, especially here. Now, for the purpose of this video, let's stick with Western men slash Filipina marriages because Filipinos marry within their social class with very few rare exceptions. And couples usually bring close to equal value to the table. So prenups here generally only happen in the upper class, if not the top 1%. So very often, the man walks in with the money while she brings no financial weight. What she brings instead is her time, youth, and loyalty. And yes, being asked to sign a prenup can feel like he doesn't trust you. I felt the same way initially. But you know what, ladies? The woman who brings less money to the table is the one who needs it the most. The value you bring are things money can't buy. Running the household, your childbearing years, and raising those kids to be good humans. Giving up your career or not pursuing one just so you can focus on your family. A prenup is where all that work gets counted and protected. Without it, you could be left with nothing. I know you're still feeling like being handed a prenup is like he's saying you are the risk. And I get why you feel defensive, but here's what a good prenup can do for you. A few examples. It can guarantee you get a certain amount after, say, 5 or 10 years of the marriage. It protects you from his debts so his mistakes can't hurt you. In the Philippines, foreigners can't own land, so a prenup can make sure any land you buy together is protected in your name. A prenup also forces both of you to be completely honest about your finances. So when you signed it, you proved to everyone that you aren't just after his money. It protects his house, but it also protects your name. Now, ladies, if it's not clear yet, let me say this. You can put your own terms in the prenup to protect you. This is not legal advice. I don't know your situation, so hire your own lawyer to determine your terms. On day 27, I told you marriage is a huge risk for a Filipina because there's no divorce here. So, quick update on that bill. It passed the House of Representatives in 2024. It stalled in the Senate until the clock ran out. That Congress ended unfortunately, so the bill died, and right now it is back to square one. It's been refiled and sitting in a committee and progressing slowly. And as of today, nothing has changed. So, yes, still no divorce. But there is one exception. If a Filipina marries a foreigner and he gets a divorce in his home country, she can ask a Philippine court to accept it. This means that the foreign husband holds the only key to a divorce. He can get it back home easily, but she still has to hire a lawyer and pay from her own pocket just to get it recognized here. So, ladies, because the husband controls the only way out, sit down and agree your rules fairly before saying I do while you still love each other. A prenup protects you from being trapped. How to do the prenup the right way. Do it early. Talk about it months before the wedding. Never do it at the last minute. If he hands you a prenup a week before or on the day of the wedding, that's a red flag. A good prenup is calm. The earlier, the better. Maybe going on the third date isn't such a bad idea to talk about it. Get your own lawyer. Pay for one who only works for you with your own money. That's what will make this prenup truly yours and is what makes it hold up. Make sure it's in a language you fully understand. If you are forced into it or don't understand it, the law might throw it out. Also, a prenup can never take away child support. Keep it private. Ladies, this is not a clan affair, so your parents, siblings, or titas never gets involved. Keep the process just between the two of you. Remember that wall that we talked about in day 25, the sealed room with just the two of you? This conversation belongs there. Gentlemen, this part is for you. The prenup itself is not what starts a fight, but it's how you bring it up. Don't just surprise her with legal papers. Bring it up early as an honest we project. Talk about your future dreams together, the house, the kids, the life you both want. And let the prenup be part of that plan. Bring her the dream first and the documents later. Now, never think of our prenup as what I will get if we break up. Instead, think of it as how do we agree to fairly share what we built together. Quick story. Before I met Dean, I had already been following Mr. Sexton and I had watched a few of his talks on prenups and marriage. I know, why would anyone follow a divorce lawyer, right? But guys, give himself a listen. He has some of the most grounded and most practical relationship advice out there. It's the kind that might just keep your marriage together. I consider him as one of my mentors. So when Dean forwarded me one of his videos on prenups, I recognized it and rewatched it. Now, Dean didn't really open up the discussion until much later, and I could sense some hesitation because he wasn't sure how I'd take it. After all, regardless of cultural differences or how modern our lifestyles and mindsets have become, we women tend to feel the same way about prenups. He doesn't trust me. So, yeah, that's the first thing that will get to our minds. So, I understand Dean's hesitation. He initially brought it up in the context of other people, and we both agreed that a prenup made sense. But later on, when the conversation eventually became about the two of us, there was some friction, mind you. Even though I had already watched the videos and agreed with the framework, discussing it with my own partner wasn't easy. I felt that familiar sting of being distrusted, but I caught myself. Knowing what Dean had been through, that part of his motivation was protecting his children so they wouldn't be left with nothing in case something unfortunate happened between us, I understood where he came from. Besides, I didn't really choose him for his money. I chose him for who he is and what we can build together. And with his ability to hustle, I knew we weren't going to go hungry, so I didn't really see a reason to object to a prenup. But what ultimately stripped my guard down was this realization. If a prenup is what he needs to feel secure in our relationship, then I can sign it freely and willingly. Now, as women, one of our biggest needs in our relationship is emotional and financial security, right? So, if our man can give that to us, there's no reason we can't give that to him. Am I right? Or am I right? Let me say that in Tagalog. Tayo mga babae, isa sa pinakamalaking kailangan natin sa relasyon ay ang emotional at financial security, di ba? So kung kaya yang ibigay ng lalaki sa atin, walang dahilan para hindi natin kayang ibigay yan sa kanya. If your goal is to build a life together till death do you part, you need to lay all your cards on the table early. Because even when speaking the same language, cultural differences can lead to deep misunderstandings. Take my revelation from days 26 and 27. When Dean said we can walk away anytime we want, he was actually set on never marrying, while I interpreted his words to mean we'd marry first and divorce later, which to me is a sign he hadn't fully chosen me. Although he proposed to me long before my internal timeline ran out, we really only unpacked this whole conversation while creating these episodes. And he told me the other day if he had known about my timeline before realizing he wanted to marry me, most likely we wouldn't be here today. And I agree. This is why open conversations are very important early on. So I am hoping that the Honest We series will help you ladies to really share your feelings transparently with your partner, allowing you both to strip away cultural nuances and avoid getting lost in translation. And the same logic applies to talking about prenups. Drop the defenses. Set aside cultural conditioning and focus on understanding what your partner actually means. Decode and agree. Unpack each other's perspectives to reach a genuine and fair compromise. Because stripping away those assumptions is the foundation of a healthy cross cultural relationship. Now, Dean was the one who pointed out to me that we were speaking the same language, yet operating from completely different cultural lenses. So he suggested creating some date night tools to avoid mistranslation traps in your relationship. So for those who need these tools, give me time to get it right, and I will let you know right away once they are available. So, gentlemen, when these tools are ready, bring it to her. We ladies cannot interpret this on our own. We need your help. Now, let's bring this whole thing home. Women all over the world feel scared of prenups because planning for an ending feels like expecting one. But remember, planning for rain doesn't mean you want it to flood. A prenup is just an umbrella that you build together on a sunny day to keep each other safe and dry just in case. Like I said, marriage in the Philippines is the biggest risk a woman can take because she can't easily leave. So when a Filipina say yes to marriage, she is giving you a huge gift by taking that risk for you. When my first marriage trapped me, it should have taught me one lesson: never again. And for a time, that was my mantra, exactly like many of you men. Unless, unless what? Unless I found a man actually worth the risk. Saying I do to him means I choose you and I am not keeping an exit plan. So, gentlemen, please understand how much she is risking. Be a man worth that risk by making fair rules to keep her safe. And one thing worth noting: if you can't have a prenup conversation with someone, especially after sending them this video, that's not a good sign. And it might just be the best filter you'll have on someone's true intentions for you, whether it's you as a person she wants or simply what you can give her. Okay, some of you asked if it's smarter for a Filipina to just live with her partner and sign a contract instead of getting married. So that way she can easily leave if things go bad. Now, living together does offer an easier way out. But it really depends on what the woman wants. If she wants safety, living together might be better. If she wants a deep, permanent commitment, marriage is the way to go. Again, it depends on her. We will talk more about this in a future episode with all the honest trade offs. So let's now tie all this together. Again, a prenup is not a plan to leave. It's two people deciding their own rules fairly and honestly while they still love each other. So, question for you, ladies. If a man brought this up gently as a team, would you listen? And gentlemen, are you sharing a dream or just handing her a piece of paper? There you go, everyone. This wraps up the rest of the Honest We series. For good this time. Next time, we tackle the heavier topics: the sex tourism arc with 6 episodes. There is a hero's journey there for you, so stay tuned. So that's it for today, and thank you for keeping me company. So let me now finish this walk from there to there and back home. And yes, again, wherever you are in the world, come walk with me. Let's get healthy together. Bye for now.